Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Good morning and welcome to the Cheshire and Warrington Pledge partnership on the Learn Live channel. The idea behind the Cheshire and Warrington Pledge is to put employers at the heart of inspiring, informing and communicating with the next generation of employees in the Cheshire and Warrington areas. There are opportunities for a variety of roles such as warehouse operatives, accountants and computer network architects, and that's just to name a few. These will be featured on the Learn Live channel with the sole purpose to help make you stand out to future employers on the field that you want to be in. So far we've heard from companies such as Priestley College and Minerva Arts, but today we'll be hearing from Voltex's Rachel Gaskin. Rachel will be telling us all about Voltex, what her role involves and how you can get involved in Voltex in the future. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask them in the live chat facility next to the video player, and a member of the team will get back to you and answer your questions as soon as possible. Now, over to Rachel.
So my name's Rachel Gaskin. I'm the recruitment manager for Voltex UK Limited. My role is I manage the end-to-end recruitment process for the whole of Voltex. So with a small team, my responsibility is to ensure that we recruit the right people for the right role across all of our business. So Voltex were a UK cash management company. So we are one of the largest UK cash processors. So we work with the Bank of England. We work to their regulations. Our role really is to ensure that cash is recycled into the country. So if you think about cash that is bagged up in, for example, a supermarket, it comes to one of our cash centres. We then count and reprocess that cash. We reconcile, we take out any damaged or forged notes. Larger scale, we deal with some foreign currency. We also are responsible for some of the ATM estate for some companies. So our shareholder banks are Barclays and HSBC, and we've been trading as Voltex since 2007. We've got 10 cash deployment centres in the UK, ranging from London to Scotland, and then we've got 2 support offices. One in Warrington, which is our head office, which is where I'm based, and a lot of our support functions are based, and that's Birchwood, Warrington. And then we've got a smaller support office in London as well. So I'm responsible for all the recruitment within the business, so the end-to-end recruitment process. So that involves creating a process, as we didn't have a process previously, putting together, our values and policies. We have a small team based in the HR team, in the HR functions. We have support from other colleagues, but in terms of the team, it is a really small team. So we try to do as much of our own internal recruitment. So we try to directly source candidates where we can. So that would be using advertisements, liaising with universities and colleges, and other local partners. Where we can't do that, for example, something quite technical or maybe an executive role, we may not find somebody just from advertising alone. We do engage with agencies. So I'm responsible for the management and the relationship with those agencies as well. So when we have a vacancy, myself and my team, we liaise with our individual hiring manager to find out what the role involves. We'll benchmark that salary role. If it's something that we don't have as a standard, we'll check the job description is relevant. And then we manage that end-to-end recruitment process. So we put out the advert, we sift the CVs, we arrange the interviews, we'll liaise with agencies, universities, depending on the role, colleges. And then we'll try to start the recruitment process off by telephone interviews and then face-to-face interviews. I'm also responsible for the vetting. So when a candidate is successful, we have to do some security checks, with us being a cash management company, financial services. So I oversee the vetting. So we've got, again, a small vetting team where once a candidate's been offered a role, we ensure that they go through the right checks before they start with the business. We also then sort of pass the candidate over to the hiring manager. So once we know that the contract's gone out and all the paperwork's been done and the vetting's cleared, then we make sure that the correct documents have gone out so we can onboard that person efficiently as well. So really, once the person starts on day one, that's kind of our job over really. But until then, we kind of maintain that relationship with the candidate. So during COVID-19, we had to really quickly adapt to a new way of working. So we had to change what would have been a face-to-face interview with each individual hiring manager quite quickly to a video interview over Skype, or we use a system called WebEx. So it was new to everybody. We'd never worked in that way before. We had to quickly set up the actual function on everybody's laptop first of all, and enable them to be able to do that, and then set up a new process of how we would get the hiring managers buy-in to do that. and actually it's worked really, really well for us. We've had to put some of our positions on hold due to the lack of work, or the reduction in work, sorry, in our operations. But actually, some of our more technical roles and some of the people working on our projects, all of that work's been continuing. So we've actually had some really good successes during the lockdown in terms of recruitment, where we may not have had that previously. We have also found that we've actually been able to get through some of the recruitment processes quite quicker, because obviously people are a bit more available on video than they are face to face, traveling with, work availability and getting time off work. So we found that it's actually benefited us really well. The other aspect of it is, as I've mentioned previously, about the vetting process. Usually we would collect a candidate, take their all identification, the passport, all their identification face to face. Obviously, we've been unable to do that, so we've had to adapt our process as an interim to allow that to be sent to us over email, and then on day one they bring in the original documents for us to see. Again, in terms of onboarding, some of our new starters have joined us during this time and met the hiring manager on the first day, the line manager on the first day, but then basically had their onboarding done remotely in some areas. So I'm talking specifically about maybe our IT team, where they would have probably worked from home occasionally anyway. The difference is we obviously are all working from home full time now. So we've had people start in the business, met on the first day with their equipment and all the documents, etc., and then actually done all their onboarding remotely. And so far, it seems to have been quite successful. I'm not saying that we would do that in future, but certainly the video interviewing as part of the recruitment process, I can't see why we wouldn't be able to use that at least as part of the process. So it may be that for speed in future, we may do a first video interview and then follow up with a second face-to-face when we can. I suppose the downside to it is that the candidate are coming in and haven't seen their working environment, they haven't met any of the team, or who they're going to be working with apart from virtually. So that could be a downside, but so far, we are learning through this process, and hopefully we'll be able to improve that as it goes along. So the future for recruitment for us at Voltex, I feel that something the changes that we've had to adapt to, i.e. video interviewing, we can continue to do so. It may not be a preference, once the restrictions have been lifted, but it may be part of the process going forward. Initially, we were unsure, how it would work. But we have made some really good recruitment choices and hires throughout this period. So for the future, I feel that especially if time constraints often can slow down the recruitment process. So for the future, I feel that this might be, we'd never looked at this before. Very, very occasionally had we done video interviewing, it was just not an option really. So it may be that we do that again in the future, and it might help speed up the process, might make more people available, and help us for the future. So for anyone that wishes to apply for a vacancy with us, at the moment it is quite quiet, but for the future we do have a careers page. It's just Voltex UK Limited. All of our vacancies are on there. We also advertise our vacancies on Total Jobs and Indeed, but they all feed into the careers page as well. In terms of pitch, I think we have a variety of roles within Voltex, and it really depends on your career choice and where you are within your career. Our positions that we have in the Northwest, we have two centres really based in the Northwest, and that is, we have a cash centre in Woolston, and we would recruit anything what we call operationally. That would be our physical cash handlers and cash counters, machine operators, the people making up the ATM machines, And what we look for there, it's a mixture between cashier, we call them cashiers, but however you are in a warehouse type environment, so it can be quite noisy. There is machinery, and there can be long shifts. We have different shifts, continental and also full time, Monday to Friday shifts. We're looking for people who are numerate, because obviously counting cash, you're physically counting cash, you've got to spot mistakes. We do have machinery that does it as well as the individual. But we also have 2 support functions within that area. So we have client services that would obviously deal with any queries with our clients. And then in our head office, we have all of our business support. So that includes the HR team, which is the team that I'm part of, the IT team. So we have around 80 people in the IT team. Lots of projects going on. So anybody who's interested in developing, testing, business analyst, that type of thing. I have a finance team, procurement. Our commercial team's also based there. What we also do every couple of years is we take on higher level apprenticeships. And that would involve somebody who's at A level or equivalent age, not necessarily age, but level, because we offer 4-year full-time employment with a funded degree. So it's a business management degree that they will do alongside working for us full-time. So it hasn't been decided yet whether we are going to take on a cohort this year. Usually we start around September, October. I would have thought we would have started the recruitment for that by now if we were, but I think everything's slowed down a little bit due to the lockdown. But we also do, as well as the higher level apprenticeships, we do, again, probably not this year, but we do an internship. So that's a paid summer work experience, really, within a function of your choice. So we've always had our head office functions really have been the main sort of interest in that. Usually somebody who's studying in one of those sort of one of those areas. And we also offer work experience as well. And I know one of my colleagues is looking at how we can offer that virtually at the moment. So it may be that we give you projects to do, but that's just being sort of looked at the moment. So we do offer a couple of things that may be of interest to some of your students.
Thank you, Rachel, for joining us today on the Learn Live channel and for giving us that challenge. There was some really great information surrounding joining such a great company like Voltex, and even in the situations that we're living in. We have more pledges coming up soon. Next week, Tuesday the 16th of June, we have Steph from Minerva Arts back again as she tells us what and who is involved in front and behind the scenes of a play like Midsummer Night's Dream. Please remember you can still leave a question on the live chat. A member of the Voltex team will answer your question as soon as possible. The chat is open 24/7. It is live, safe and free to use and informative for anyone that wants to leave a question at any time. So we'll see you again on the 16th of June when we join Steph from Minerva Arts. In the meantime, see you then and stay safe.
So the Pledge is a sort of organisation that tries to connect young people with businesses. So we work with schools and colleges and different organisations, so different charities and everything as well, to get young people engaged with us and into the workplace.
We got involved with the Pledge probably 3 or 4 years ago now. We went along to one of the first meetings and it was actually really exciting. There were a lot of people there from local schools and local businesses. So from our perspective as an employer, it was great to sort of connect with local Macclesfield businesses, really.
The Pledge has been able to give me more confidence in myself. I think I've really been able to get on well with my employer because I've seen other employers being engaged through the Pledge.
I think it was in year 11, Jeva came in, did an assembly about the Pledge there, and And that's when I first kind of properly, I'd heard bits about it, but that's when I first properly got an idea of what it was, and it was like that connection between schools and the workplace and demonstrating you can do more than uni and all that kind of thing.
I think it's important just to let us know the opportunities that are out there, because it's really hard to kind of find everything, because UCAS has a website for universities and employers don't really have one website, so Pledge can kind of be that bridging the gap.
They've put us in contact with countless local schools and charities and organisations. They approach us constantly to get involved in careers workshops and events that they've set up. They allow for meaningful contact.
Employing young people really helps us in terms of the energy that they bring, fresh ideas and being very committed to the organisation, and also they've got that enthusiasm for training and development, which will really help us further down the line.
But it's what you need to do. If you need young people and new talent, you've got to go out and get it, because the students and the children are struggling to come to you. So you've got to show them that you're approachable and that you can do something that sort of means something to them.